Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new year edition of Pod By The BAE. I'm your host, Nathan Bond. Joined alongside me, Seth Varnadore, Robert Steeg. It is the first podcast of 2024 for you boys. We wanted to do something a little different. We're going to do a little football year in review. Very exciting season for your South Florida Bulls. Kind of put a bow on at least this part of the football season. I know there's still a second signing day. The coaches conference, I think, kicks off this week. So there's potential for movements of assistant coaches. I know LSU fired like 4 coaches on Wednesday or Tuesday. There will be more of that. There will be more movement in the coming days and weeks. But to put on a perfect bow of this 7-6 season for your South Florida Bulls, capped off by that 45-0 drubbing of Syracuse in the Boca Raton Bowl. I wanted to kind of, give some moments and, highlight some things that we may have even forgotten from this very long season that started back in August or September 2nd, I guess would be the correct date that the season started. So I gave you guys some categories to kind of pick, and I'll let you guys go, and then what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pick which one was the best moment, like one for best moment. You guys are going to give maybe 2, or maybe it's the same one, and I'll vote and pick which one it is. Kind of throwing you guys a curveball on that one. Didn't let you know on that little secret. So first category of the night, best moment for your South Florida Bulls. Steeg, you're the youngest one here. I'll let you go first.
I think I'm going to go with 2 moments in particular. One is like a personal one, and then one is like where I was like, yeah, that was kick-ass. It's going to sound weird, but that opening drive against Western Kentucky, when everything was rolling, everything was coming together, the plays were executing, and you basically saw every asset or every facet of what this offense was going to look like for the rest of the year. Like, that opening drive was basically like, this is what's going to happen. Have fun. Like, to be capped off with that Byron Brown touchdown and then go immediately to the clip of goal, it's just fist pumping on the sideline. It seemed like there was a huge sense of relief that they moved the ball extremely efficiently in multiple ways and were able to score against an opponent who at the time we thought was just going to just kind of shrub us for a little bit there. Like, we didn't think that there was going to be much of a chance, to keep up with that high-powered, high-octane Western Kentucky offense. And then all of a sudden, we go down there and score and look like a high, powered octane offense. So that was one of my best moments. And then to the personal side of things, sitting in the rain, watching the Alabama game, taking a 3-0 lead. Oh boy, man, like soaking wet, and just like all the Alabama fans around us, just like contemplating if life is worth it at this current moment.
Looking up directions to the skyway.
Yeah, like it was such a magical moment. Like, it was so fun to be in that final score aside. That was phenomenal.
Seth?
I kind of think in terms of games more than moments, but so I'm trying to narrow it down. To me, there's a lot of good moments during the year. I'm going to say the touchdown pass to Chaffee Brown in the bowl game, because that was pretty much like, first of all, it was a perfect throw, a beautiful route, in stride, beautiful touchdown, and then basically it was like game over. This thing's done. In the bowl game, it was just kind of a perfect play, executed perfectly. I think it put you up like 21-0 at the time. I think maybe even been 24-0. So I'll say that because I think, the bowl game was a big moment of catharsis, I think, for the fan base. You saw that with all the people jumping on the field at the end of the game. So much positive energy. I took video of it. It's just a massive USF people around having a great time at the bowl game. It was really, really great. And it was such a big moment, I think, of relief for fans for the last 4 or 5 years. And I thought that touchdown kind of kicked all that off. That was like, okay, this one's over. Like from here on out, it's just icing on the cake. So I'll say that touchdown to Choppy Brown. And he's on my fantasy team, so I get points for that. Even better.
Those are a couple of very good moments. I'm gonna side with Seth here on this one. Mostly because it was catharsis. It is what this fan base needed for a very, very long time. It's been a very long time since 2017, and even then, probably 2016's bowl game of like I feel really good about the offseason. There was like positive momentum forward. Even after the 2016 bowl game, you beat South Carolina, and you have the unknown of, okay, well, if Charlie Strong just fixes the offense, so you have the hope there, or fixes the defense, excuse me, you have the hope there. After the 2017 season, it was, well, Quentin's gone. A lot of the skill players are gone. Sterling Gilbert has already proven that he's a terrible coach and terrible human being who probably kicks puppies.
War criminal, allegedly.
Allegedly. So not great. And then the 2018 bowl game, it was just people want to forget about that. So this was that moment for me. That was just the entire night, the 16 hours we spent in Boca.
That was yeah. I could not sleep, so I left at 3:00 in the morning. Drove home. Went to the office on Fridays.
Chaotic. Steve, quick story. I text Seth at it was probably like 6:45, 7:00. Hey, I'm heading down to breakfast, and he goes, "Yeah, I couldn't sleep. I am about to pull into the office." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, fair enough."
Yeah. It hit like 2:30, and I'm like, I'm not getting to sleep. First of all, it's the Catalina wine mixture and Step Brothers is on TV. Like, it's not happening. So, yeah. So just like, I'll just drive home. I'll go to the office. They're not going to make me take a full day off for a half day of work. So, yeah, I drove in, and I heard somebody in the office say, "Yeah, I was up till midnight last night watching the USF game." I was like, "Brother, me too."
I was there.
So,
oh man. Yeah, so fair enough. All right, flip side of best moment. Worst moment, Seth. Driving home at 3 a.m.
No, that was all right. That wasn't too. I had some podcasts to listen to. It wasn't too. There's nobody on the road, so no, I'd say the onside kick against FAU because that was kind of like 2 games worth of really bad in a row, right? Right, it was UAB, FAU, and then that was just like just such a like rub it in your face moment, and where I think the fan base psyche was from the UAB game, and then where that ended up was pretty low. So, it kind of was, I'd say like the catharsis of the bowl game, like the opposite was this onside kick moment where you're like, oh my gosh, FAU is going to come in here and be better than us immediately in conference. It's all going down in flames. This is terrible. We'll never get back. I think a lot of that came out. And if you're in any kind of Discord game thread, you probably saw that. But yeah, that moment I think was probably pretty down because you're getting clowned by, FAU.
Yeah.
After you waxed by
I mean, pretty much the same. The only other moment would be like the punt return for a touchdown. Like it just seemed like the wheels were just completely falling off the wagon at that point.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, worst moment, not a moment, that 2-game stretch probably. I think that's probably the right answer. There were bad, instances times here and there, but ultimately it kind of made up for it towards the end of the year. But like for about 2 weeks there, all hope was lost. It felt like.
And that went into the bye week, right? Or was it UConn into the bye week?
UConn into the bye week. They wanted UConn to
and then went into the bye week.
Stop the skid.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree there. That 2-game skid, slide, backslide, abomination. I mean, however you want to call it. That was brutal to see.
I think you could argue that the UConn game may be up there for best moment as well. Like there's parts of that game, the big Naquan Wright run in that game to take the lead.
Yeah. 10-point deficit going into the fourth quarter. Yeah, that's a pretty good one too.
Because the other moment doesn't happen without that one. So that's in the contention, I'd have to say.
Yeah, I agree. That is definitely up there for sure. And then funniest moment, Steeg. What was your funniest moment from this season?
The funniest moment to me was every week hearing a rumor about when USF was going to release the renderings for the on-campus stadium and hearing people justify their reasoning behind, oh, they're going to release it before the FAMU game, the first game of the year. Oh, they're going to release it before the Alabama game, all eyes on TV. Oh, they're going to release it before homecoming. And I was like, every time I heard one of those, I'd laugh at it to my secret source. When USF the entire time was like, yeah, when we have the renderings ready, we're going to release them on a board of trustees meeting. Like it was very clear USF was not going to pull any surprises to try to win over some charity or anything like that. It was when they're ready, you'll see it. And we've told you when they're going to be ready.
Seth, funniest moment for you?
When it started raining that hard in the Alabama game after USF was up 3-0, because then you're like, oh, they could actually win this. Yeah, I think like to me the Alabama game is where the funny moments are. You know, you're beating Alabama, then the rains comes, and you're like, with these quarterbacks Alabama's trotting out, 3-0 might hold up. Like you know, if it keeps raining like this all game, so. Yeah, that was a crazy game. So that to me, that kind of probably being up 3-0 when the rain started is probably to me the funniest moment. I tried to think of other ones, I just couldn't. Nothing pop ahead.
There's two for me that I think, like you got your options are great. There's two for me that kind of took the cake. And I'm going to go off the board here just because I want to mention these two. The confluence of events in the bowl game with the fumble returned for a touchdown, then it got called back because of the blindside block on Byron Brown, ending with like a fumble that basically puts them like into very deep field goal range, and then just the absolute butchering and scoop and score. Like that 5 minute of game was possibly the funniest thing I've seen on a field that didn't have yakety sacks on it. Like it was remarkable to watch that live. And there's been a lot of times where USF has kind of been on the opposite end of that. So seeing that, and then for me personally, the funniest moment that happened all season was the inside joke becoming public. The thing that we have talked about for like 3 years finally becoming public and like tripling down on being hacked. With it, like,
Well,
I'm almost, I don't know when it happened, but I think it may have happened right around the FAU game or a little bit later, and it just kind of helped
alleviate,
help ease things. But golly, what a time to be on the internet at that particular moment. Those were two funny moments.
I was gonna say our collective Uber trips, but those were more harrowing. Maybe the funniest moment, one of our Uber drivers had 7 McDonald's cups in his car, all filled with water.
Yep.
That
was chaotic.
That might be
almost getting us killed by the USF
team bus.
Team
yeah,
bus
that's a good
and
one.
the police in Connecticut.
Yeah.
The one guy missing the bridge in Connecticut. Everything in Hartford closing at like 9 p.m.
That was interesting.
And then
great.
The Uber back to the hotel after the Boca Bowl was chaotic.
That was one for the ages. We got to talk. We got a talker, Steeg.
I love a talking Uber driver is my dream.
Literally,
I hate when it's silent in an Uber driver.
As soon as this is your nightmare.
Oh god!
As soon as we get in the car, he's got like these lights on the top of it, on like the ceiling of his car.
Yeah,
like little dot lights. He has like these lights. I'm like, yeah, sure. It's 1:00 in the morning, bro. Put them in myself, and he just started, and from there it was on.
Hell yeah, we love a passionate king.
Oh,
well.
I don't know.
It
was rough.
So, like,
I did like he said
we cuss on this podcast and stuff, but like what he said was just like it's not safe for any.
It was adult in nature.
Oh god, I didn't think he went off the rails. I thought he was just bragging about the lights he installed.
Oh no, man.
Oh no, that was just how it started. I shouldn't have said I liked it.
That was his opener.
Yeah. Oh. And then his second one was, where you guys from? They said from Tampa. He's like, oh, so you guys probably like country music. When he's getting the music, I'm like, bro, what do you think? Where do you think Tampa is? Like, it was wild.
Well, North Florida, apparently.
Yeah.
The Panhandle, baby. Right next to Weewa Hitchka.
I mean, essentially. Team MVP. Steeg.
Byram. Yeah, I mean, because this one's going to deal with the second one in a second. But yeah, I mean, team MVP has to be Byram. I mean, the season doesn't chug along as fluidly as it does without your quarterback. You see the difference between having a good quarterback and having a bad quarterback. He's the MVP.
Take him off the team, they don't make a bowl game. So,
yeah. Accurate.
So, and that's why he's not riding around in the scooter anymore.
God bless. It was wild that it took that long.
Yeah.
As long as it happened. Nico, great job, buddy, in the bowl game. Really good. The future's bright at Tennessee. No need to worry about that quarterback position. That one's all locked up.
Yeah. Thank God. Thank God.
Grayson McCall, great choice. North Carolina State. Awesome job, buddy. Suits you perfectly.
Biggest surprise.
Sean Atkins. Right?
Yeah. I'll give.
I guess being the guy to break the curse.
Yeah, that I think was. I mean, we talked about it. I mean, Nathan, Seth, and I probably talked extensively about how we thought maybe it'd be like a Naeem Simmons or like a Jaden Alexis, like a Yusuf Terry, a fully healthy Yusuf Terry might be able to do it. And we didn't suspect the former meat market server to come out and catch for 1,000 yards for the first time in program history. You know, wasn't on our radar. I'll give an honorable mention to Logan Berryhill, just because of like I think like making like an immediate impact in the Western Kentucky game and getting a few interceptions under his belt and everything. That was I don't want to say that's the biggest surprise. That was a pleasant surprise to hear that name, because the first time he got an interception, we were at the or actually when he made like a pass breakup against Western Kentucky where he almost, decapitated someone. And I said, is that Logan Berryhill? And then I realized Logan Berryhill was starting. Like the former wide receiver turned cornerback turned wide receiver turned cornerback turned safety is our starting safety. And then he made an interception and then I ate my sock.
Yeah. I said Sean Atkins because I think it was probably till like the 8th game of the year. Every game I was thinking, all right, when's somebody going to take this guy's spot? Like when is somebody going to take over his snaps? Like, and that's been probably my biggest blind spot. covering USF is his emergence. And that, to me, it was really surprising to me. And like, I think I said it to you at the press box in the bowl game, Nathan. Like, his feet must be just unbelievable because he just gets in and out on people so quick. And yeah, it's that I'm constantly surprised by Sean Atkins.
Sean Atkins finishes with 92 catches, 1,054 yards, and 7 touchdowns. I think probably the most impressive thing about him is just the consistency. Starting with the Alabama game, he had either 6 catches or 100 yards in every single game the rest of the year. And they're from October 7th to the final game of the regular season versus Charlotte, he had at least 7 receptions. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 straight games. And he only had a paltry 6 receptions in the bowl game for 93 yards and 2 touchdowns. So that's embarrassing for him for sure, that he couldn't get 7 catches. But like I mean, he's ginger. Of course we're going to do well. Of course the ginger head coach is going to get the ginger guy the ball. Like, it just makes – you know how there aren't many of us that play football, and there are even fewer that are good at it. Like, when you get a ginger head coach and a ginger wide receiver, we're going to try to make sure that he gets the damn ball. And it worked. And he's already said he's coming back. Byram's already said he's coming back. That's set up – You'll hear it at some point on the Blood Boy Roundtable, but I will say it here and ferociously. The fact that I think this is probably going to be my big surprise going off the board. The fact that nobody of importance, quote unquote, opted out or transferred before the bowl game, and still there hasn't been that mass exodus like you've seen at other places so far, speaks to the culture and what this team is building toward in 2024. And I think that's probably one of the most exciting things. And, you know, it could all change within the next couple of weeks. I think the portal closed on Tuesday. May 1st it opens up again, so you'll see more, you know, matriculation, you know, after spring. But what this team's been able to do and keep the key guys, the core, you know, from people that I know around the programs, and the core guys, the guys we want are going to be here. That's got to be the big surprise. What they've been able to do. I'm excited to see what they can build off of this season. I didn't expect them to make a bowl game. I thought 4 wins would be a great start, and to get 7 in year 1 is damned impressive.
I went back and listened to our preseason episode, and maybe this will be a different episode, but I went back and listened to our preseason episode, and Steeg was the only one that said, I said best case scenario, they make a bowl game. I think you were in the same spot, Nate. You said they make a bowl game. Steeg went out and said best case scenario, everything's perfect, they win 8 games. So Steeg was the only one that thought make a bowl game and win it, I guess. So good job, Steeg.
Yeah, I did it.
He also said on the negative side that they would go winless. So
yeah,
he was prepared for all. He was prepared for all outcomes.
In fairness, I think aside from the Charlotte game, I still feel that way. Like, even looking back, I still feel like we could have lost the FAMU game. We could have lost the UConn game. We could have lost Temple, yada, yada, yada. Charlotte's the only game where I was like, yeah, we fucking killed them. Like, that was the only, like, we would have 1-11 again.
Navy was kind of like that too.
Yeah, Navy was kind of, yeah. Navy felt like more of like a they pulled away at the end with that fumble return for a touchdown. But yeah, I mean, those 2 games are really the only like big like blowout. Everything else, I was like, oh, we're still learning.
Oh, fun fact! I told Tramel Logan this, and I posted it on Twitter during the bowl game. Tramel Logan had 3 touchdowns this year. He would be tied for the team lead by any Iowa offensive player. And then I went to go double check before I said that just now, and then I remembered they got shut out in their bowl game, so it's okay.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, that's fine.
What a joke. It was cool. So I did this like final one. This will kind of lead into the off season kind of focus, and there's been a couple of defections since we last spoke. Is there one thing you want to see changed or change heading into 2024 from this program?
I took that.
Forward?
I took that as one thing you would change about the season previously.
Oh, you know what? Yours is probably better.
Well,
I'd
I'd flip the UTSA Charlotte game. I'd flip those two games on the schedule. If you gave me God's pin to change that, I'd flip flop those two. Just to give that sense of relief where I wasn't shitting my pants going into that Charlotte game, thinking, "Oh God," especially after they went down and scored. I'd rather have the relief of having that 6th win and then just going out and laying an egg against UTSA again. I'd rather do that.
Interesting. Seth?
I mean, I'm going to answer your version of the question, Nathan. I think like more access for the Bay Area Examiner would really help this program take the next step. That's just give us a little clinic. That's all. Just a little clinic so we can explain better to the people what's going on.
Yeah,
we're on your side.
We love a good coach's clinic.
We know you guys listen. We're on your side. We're here to help. I'm a former coach. I'm not here to badmouth you guys. I'm here to help you. Explain what you want to do.
3 years left of where I can't publicly say anything bad about.
Yeah, we made
take advantage.
Nathan's a man of his word. Yeah, that's all we're saying.
I mean, to be fair, it wasn't hard to not do that this year. So
great year, yeah, great job by him.
Like even during the FAU UAB catastrophes.
Yeah, hands off.
And
he earned
here's the thing: Alex Golesh 2-0 in one-score games this season. So late game management, not terrible. On the flip side, like all of the losses were just blowouts. So
I mean, hey man, like
bit.
When they didn't have it, they didn't have it. Yeah. When they didn't have it, they didn't have it. That's all right.
So, yeah.
What was the number? When's the last time Alabama scored 17 points?
I think it was 2015 versus Auburn. I would have to search the tweets for it.
Even Michigan couldn't replicate the success of the USF defense. That's the funniest moment.
Yeah, that is definitely the funniest moment. Holding Alabama to just 17 points, and with a minute left. Yeah, and it probably should have been just 13, except for the jumping off sides on the 4th down.
That's right. Yeah. What happened after was not a funny moment, but
no. Oh, another. I mean, the fight, the punch. Totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
that was so early in the season.
Yeah,
man. See, these are the things you don't.
That's where you're like moments. I'm like, I don't remember. I'm forgetting.
It's just
a lot
one
of
giant
moments.
blur.
Yes, I'm forgetting a lot of moments.
Yeah. So, Steeg, I'm going to ask you the question. What do you want to see change going into 2024? What's
going forward? I'm going to get really like kitschy and niche here. I'd like to see something from this offense feels like it's still missing something. Like, I don't know if it's like
consistent ground game.
Yeah, I guess consistency on the ground game would be nice. I think they have enough home run hitters speed wise. I know there were some discussions about a certain player who fans want back, not happening. But I think they have enough home run hitters, top to bottom, that are younger, that might be taller too, to make up for that. But it just seems like the ground game was more reliant on Byram Brown's ability to run rather than a running back's ability to get those 3 to 4 yards every single time. I think hitting a guy or teaching a guy to just consistently get those 4 to 5 yard chunk plays out of those, speed sets is extremely valuable. I know a lot of fans had issues with at times the run pass, taking 25 seconds off the board. But if you catch a linebacker sleeping, if you catch a defensive tackle not paying attention, all of a sudden, your first down and 10 turns into a second down and 4. And then that second down and 4 turns back into a first down and 10. And then all of a sudden things are starting to snowball a little bit more. So I think that's probably something that I'd like to see changed out of the offense. Defensively, give up less points. Duh. But I think the defense played fine for the most part this year. The scheme was very reliant on, getting turnovers, creating havoc. I really like watching havoc. I like getting turnovers. Sure, at times they bent like a twig on a rainstorm, but that's fine because they'll have games where it's really fun because they'll get like 6 turnovers and give up like 32 points. It's like the most boomer bust team I've ever seen. But yeah, I mean, overall, there's not much I would actually change, like coaching wise, player wise, personnel wise. I think the guys that they have in the schemes in the system are good. And right. The longer that they play in it, the better it's going to be. I made the comparison in our Ponderosa. Do you want to buy a new expensive bottle of wine that you may not like, or do you want to continue to make the wine that you have so that it can get better? It's two sides of a coin.
Yeah. Talking ground game, we can kind of Mikey Duke's no longer with the program. He's in the portal. As you were kind of doing, I kind of crunched the numbers between the running backs that got significant carries. Naquan Wright, Kwan Powell, Kelly Joyner. So they had 280 carries combined this season. They rushed for 1,168 yards, which is good for 4.17 yards per carry. Now, in the NFL, that's fine. College football, less than ideal. And I don't know if it's the offensive line or the skill at the running back. I think all of these guys are capable of running better than that. Kwan Powell was under 4 yards a carry. Kelly Joyner was exactly at 4, and Naquan Wright was at 4.4. And some weeks Naquan Wright he just didn't have it and just didn't play. So I think the consistency of the run game is going to open up this offense even further. And Byron Brown, God bless him, he can't have 203 carries again next season. Like, it just can't happen. Like, the guy, you're going to break the guy. Like, I think USF got so lucky that he was able to stay, quote unquote, healthy or healthy enough to play this season, because I don't think the backup situation was ideal, especially, Gary Bohanna was just never going to play USF again. Like, that is just cut and dry. I know, like, during the middle of the season, they're like, where's Gary? Like, guy's never suiting up for USF again. Not going to happen. And then Bryce Archie, good backup. Izzy Carter, not ready yet. So keeping Byram upright is going to be priority, and I think they're going to continue to look for offensive linemen or figure out a 5 that they have. They're only losing Donovan Jennings so far from the starting offensive line, and they now have guys, because of all the injuries and how they've had to piecemeal the offensive line. They now have guys with some experience that can kind of figure out where they want to slot in. I think RJ Perry started left guard in the bowl game, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, they'll have to figure it out. I think that's and
they will.
Yeah, I think some more explosiveness at running back would be helpful.
Yeah,
not sure if that comes from a young guy playing or a recruit or a transfer, but I think it seems like there are other positions that are priorities for them in the transfer portal. Skill positions on offense don't seem to be up there, I wouldn't think. So Yeah, but some explosiveness at running back would be helpful. I think that, like, you see when Tennessee really has it rolling, they've got some guys that can hit the second level and then like go. And really, we saw Naquan Wright get out a few times. That's not really his game. But some more explosiveness at running back would be helpful. And obviously, yeah, better play up front from the offensive line, particularly through the middle. The very middle, but I think it'll get better as guys get. You got some young guys playing there. They get the middle. The guys get older and more used to playing those positions. So,
I agree. With that, I think we put a nice little bow on this part of the 2023 South Florida Bulls football season. We'll be back. Probably next week. Maybe we'll do a Ponderosa this week as we kind of get our ducks in rows. We head toward the second signing day, and then baseball, softball, golf, basketball's in full swing. I think men's basketball's what 5 in a row, 6 in a row,
5 in a row,
or is it 5 in a row? So we're getting into the full swing of it. We were inside baseball here. We recorded the Block Boy Roundtable first, and Steeg and I were just absolutely seething at the overtime versus Charlotte for women's basketball. We'll have some thoughts in the Ponderosa about what women's basketball.
I've already laid them. I've already laid my thoughts out there.
Good, because it's been brutal. So we'll discuss that and much more. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. You guys have been great this season. It's been a lot of fun. Winning is fun. I remember it well. Let's keep the momentum going, and let's have a fun spring season, folks. With that, go Bulls.
go Bulls.
Go Bulls.